costs the same amount of money to feed a $50 snake as it does to feed a $50,000 snake.
All right, guys, welcome to another unboxing here. I'm here with Justin Lathrop from Family Jewels Herp Sales.
Yeah.
And I'm so beyond excited for this.
I'm excited for you. I made that snake. This snake was not for sale. This was my holdback.
I pried a holdback out of you, but at the same time, it's been a cool journey getting to know you and you know, your family and your business too, and just being able to watch you for the last few years of just getting into Super Dwarves. And I know you're good friends with Garrett over at Coiled Reptiles. And this is a special animal. It's going to be different from anything I have right now. I'm always like super jittery when I'm doing. I don't know how you are too.
Yeah, same
I'm
way.
like so
this
jittery.
This animal's special to me. Like,
well, before we hop into it, give us a quick rundown on the parents.
Okay, so the parents, I have a female. If you go back and watch my only retic egg video, September 11th, I believe, is when they were hatched. Not hatched, laid. The female is a 75% Calatoa, 12.5% Jampea. Richard Bilbo produced her. She was just a Pos Het Snow, and then I bred her to my male lavender albino Het Anery, so Het Snow, which is 25% Calatoa, 25% Kiawati, 12.5% Jampea, scaleless head, produced
just
what you're about to see.
Some magic.
Yeah, magic came out, literally.
So the percentage for her is technically on the Super Dwarf side was 62.5%, I think, is the breakdown of total, right?
Total Super Dwarf.
Total Super
and
Dwarf.
So 12.5% Jampea, because 12.5 on both sides, mother and dad. So yeah.
Oh man,
You'll have to pull a little tape on one side or the other.
It's been a couple months. We've been waiting to do this, and shout out to Justin here. He actually drove this animal out to me.
Yeah.
Which is rare.
9 hours.
So when it comes to people that really care about their babies, I mean, you're up there for driving this one out.
Yeah,
I mean,
more than
people don't do it.
Well, I mean, hey, this is the only one I ever produced like this. And I couldn't replace it. It was more about the snake than it is the money. So
she disappeared.
So a quick shout out to US Arc. If you don't already, support US Arc.
Wow.
And she's just gonna start going into shed, so she's not looking as amazing as she normally does.
But that is a white diamond
line
snow.
Oh yeah, the male is white diamond line from Garrett Hartl's white diamond line. Both the male and female scaleless heads that I have.
This is so amazing, and once again, I mean, to actually own this animal is such a privilege, and just it's so special. And I know you're attached to her, but you also have some other amazing animals from that clutch. You have
I have two purple
albinos, right?
Yeah, 2 purple albinos that are 66% Het Snow, and then I have a few Aneries that are 100% Het albino, purple albino, and then I had a couple of normals, and even the normals in this clutch came out just.
Well, I feel like there's something in Richard Bilbo's bloodlines where it doesn't really matter what you get from him. They're always either Het Anery or there's something. I swear, it's whatever he has throws some crazy stuff.
Yeah, shout out to Richard Bilbo, but I think the beauty in these really comes from the white diamond line. The white diamond snake that Garrett has, and that's the reason this white diamond line, if you don't know, if you haven't watched Coiled Reptiles, he kind of explains it. That's the name of the snake. When that snake was produced at Prehistoric Pets, Garrett ended up buying it and named it the white diamond because it was like a 1 in a million. And I've seen that snake in person. It's just a gorgeous,
just a stunner. It just glows,
It does. And when she sheds, she'll glow. Like I said, right now she's, I've been feeding her pretty heavily for you, so get her going for you, get her nice and established.
Well, no, I appreciate it, and the thing is, my kids are gonna love this animal, and this is gonna be super fundamental to what we're trying to do, and we've invested a lot of our resources, time, money into really trying to accommodate these animals and give them the best life possible, as much enrichment as we can give them.
Yeah.
You know, and really just kind of make our own name for ourselves. And I know you've made a name for yourself, and people really know you for, you know, the things that you have coming up, and also just on kind of the ball python stuff. So I guess I want to segue into the difference between breeding ball pythons in this market and breeding super dwarves. What would you say is kind of some of the main differences right now?
The ball python market's super flooded. Like everybody, it seems like, is breeding ball python. So if you're not making that new big thing, or have a really good established clientele, like return customers and stuff that want to, that, you know and like you and trust you, which thank God I do have some wonderful clients that are return clients. They like my animals, so they come back. They like the business, the service that they get. I mean, you know, I've driven
top of the line service.
Yeah, so I made a world's first. I made 2 world's first GHI sunsets, and I actually drove one of those out here to a guy that breeds in Salt Lake City, Fireball reptiles. His name's Joe.
Right.
He actually bought one of the males from me, and the other male that I kept, the straight GHI sunset, he's actually been breeding this year, so I'm hoping that we'll make possibly some super GHI sunset stuff, some het red xanthic GHI sunset stuff. So there's a lot of things in the work with the ball pythons, but super dwarfs, to me, like, they're amazing. They're funner. They're, for a pet, like if you had to have one or the other and it was just going to be a pet, I would pick a super dwarf over a ball python all day. But don't get me wrong, I love ball pythons. But just like these, they're kind of like, there's always that new color or new morph, and you want to collect them all.
You want to collect them all, and right?
You couldn't if these were mainlands. You know, I have one mainland, and you've seen pictures of her. She's a big snake, you know,
right?
13 foot. And that's not even, you know, she'll probably continue to grow a little bit. But these, I mean, this is like perfect. You know, you can collect a few and not have to stuff them in little boxes or anything like that. And like, I mean, look at this giant enclosure that she gets to run around in. That's the other thing that made me happy to let you have her. When you showed me the enclosure that she was going in, I was like, okay, we can work with this. Because I'm like a snake Nazi. Like, if you don't make me happy how you're going to take care of the snake, you're not getting it no matter what price.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about that a little bit. I was like, well, I really don't want to sell her. I don't want to sell her. And then you told me like how you were going to do your setup and what you were getting. And I was like, okay, this he cares about the animals. I'm okay with that.
For sure.
You know, if you were just like, yeah, I'm going to put her in a little box and hope she breeds and makes me a bunch of money, you could have offered me $1 million and she'd still be at my house.
Well, and I think that's the right approach you want to have, and I think in order to build a really good reputation in general, like a lot of the breeders out there, most of the ones I know that are just really good people, like for the most part, you know, there are some of those people that contribute to some of that toxic community for sure, but
you gonna name names?
Not on here. No, I'm just kidding. No. But no, I think really, you know, with everything that we're trying to do here, and I know some of your goals as well, you know, really try to push the industry forward. And there's been so many great pioneers, right, you know, in the current market and also before our time, that have put so much time, money, and love into these animals, where it's like you almost feel kind of obligated to give them the best life and lifestyle and experience. And you know, these are great ambassador animals as well. When it comes to super dwarfs, I mean, they're absolutely amazing. They're highly intelligent. I mean, I'd put them up there with almost, you know, as one of the most intelligent snakes out there.
Well, and that's really what won me over. So I'm getting some Eastern Indigos, and Robert Bruce has got me sold, trying to convince me that they're more personable and as intelligent or more intelligent than the super dwarfs. And I don't have them yet, so I can't compare yet. But that's what Garrett, when we became friends, he sold me on, well, get one, and if you don't fall in love with it, I'll buy it back from you. I mean, that was pretty much...
That was his guarantee to you, pretty much, as a
friend,
right?
Well, as a friend, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he'll do that to everybody, but I don't believe that once you own one, you would want to get rid of it. I
don't think so either.
Yeah, so once I got my snake, I call him King. I got King and Peaches were my first snakes from Garrett. and you can see them on my channel on Family Jewels Herp Sales. I fell in love with them. Literally, like King is like one of my very favorite snakes as a pet. I bought him originally to breed, but then I got some stuff that was a little more desirable for the market for me to breed, and because of my interest, I wanted to make things that kept the industry going.
Right.
I didn't want to just keep producing the same stuff and
sure
the market. But I'm never getting rid of King. Like, I love that snake. He is my pet, and
forever and ever.
Yeah. And he was a line bred snake that Garrett like hand picked. Same as you. He was a snake that wasn't for sale. I had to really twist Garrett's arm to get the snake, and I mean, on paper, he's just a tiger Posset Snow, but he's a line of tigers that Garrett selectively picked, both for size and for his cool color and pattern. So I fell in love with them. Absolutely fell in love with retics, Super Dwarf Retics especially. And I have one mainland. I love her, but she's a workout.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
I mean, I can't imagine having 8 mainlands, you know. Oh, yeah. I mean, just 6 or 8 of them.
Well, and you just have to put a divider in there and open it up. I mean, that's what you'd have to do.
Well, and the other thing too, I mean, I know you're wanting to expand and continue to grow, and some of what are some of your future plans as far as like breedings, and maybe you can give people a little bit of insight so when they hop over to your channel, they can expect over the next couple of years what some of your goals are, because you've got some cool stuff coming.
I got lots of cool stuff, and unfortunately, I haven't been going through some personal life issues. I just haven't been getting videos out, and I apologize. So my channel's pretty stagnant right now.
But you have a good following. I think you almost have 1,000 subscribers or something. So you can see some people follow you.
And it's crazy because I keep getting people that will add on and people that go away, probably because I don't, update anything. The future plans, I'm still trying to produce the first scaleless retic.
That's huge news. That's
huge.
Like huge news, banner across. That would shake the entire industry.
Yeah, it would.
If you did that.
But no matter what, like, I still got some other cool stuff that we're making. Other people are doing it too. There's just not a ton of them out there though. I got like a marble TK line marble that's 50% Kalatoa, and I'm trying to breed him this year. In fact, I'm trying to breed him to her mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, because he's also Posset Snow. So I'd like to have a purple albino marble. Would be pretty awesome.
That would be killer.
Yeah.
With the stuff that you have. Yeah. Like I said, there's something about the Bilbo lines and some of these other bloodlines that you've bought into. And once again, when you're wanting to get a super dwarf, and people always look at percentages and high percentage. We were kind of talking about this before. Right. It really boils down, to bloodlines and kind of what you're looking at. And so when you're looking to buy a super dwarf, it's always important to, number one, I feel like buy from a reputable breeder.
Definitely.
And number two, ask about the bloodline and the genetics and kind of the family tree of, okay, where did these snakes come from? Right. What are their sizes? What are their behaviors like? All those different things are just super important before you actually go and make some sort of an impulse buy, right? Because there's a lot of impulse buyers that come into the community, and I think it's important that you take your time and you kind of are a little bit tactical when it comes to making those decisions, because these animals are going to live to what? 15, 25, 30 years, right?
Yeah,
so
planning on living as long as I do.
So, I'm a big believer in supporting the people that you feel like are reputable and are pushing the industry forward and are taking care of their animals in the right way and some of those other things. What would you say kind of the best piece of advice for like new breeders or new people coming into the hobby, that because both of us have spent good money on snakes and invested and different things like that. But
I agree with the very first statement you said. Is it's about the bloodlines, and that's what like my best advice would be is know your breeder. There's a few reputable great breeders out there. Obviously, I'm going to pitch Garrett Hartle. I would say buy from him all day long.
I think he's the gold standard and the leader in the space by far.
Absolutely. And there's other great breeders out there, don't get me wrong. Garrett and I are just friends, and I have seen his stock, and that's where I'm at with all my animals. Richard says it in one video where Garrett goes to his house and kind of shows off some of his animals. It costs the same amount of money to feed a $50 snake as it does to feed a $50,000 snake. I mean, the housing's the same, everything's the same. So why would you not, if you have a garage space would you rather want to park an old clapped out Pinto in there, or would you rather have a Ferrari in there? And so if I can have the Ferrari, I want the Ferrari. And that's how I feel about my animals, because they're pets to me. Like,
first and foremost, they're your pets, and you're going to have them for a while, and there's going to be times where even if you want to breed them, they're not going to breed. So it's like you have to enjoy and be passionate about the animals first and the journey, because the breeding stuff comes, right? And it's going to come. They're going to be mature, you know, they're going to grow. And
I think that's where success comes from. Just like Garrett. Garrett was like, well, I want to do this because I want to do this. And the money came because he was following his passion, not chasing money. And I'm the same way. I wanted to make this snake. and then you ended up, you know, twisting my arm and getting it. But hopefully I'll make another one. But that was the whole reason when I very first got into this. I wanted to make the snakes that I wanted. And so you got to start with good bloodlines. I wasn't making them to make money. I never did this to be like, well, I'm going to make this and it's going to make this amount of money.
Right.
X, Y, and Z, and
do all the calculations.
None of that was ever in there. My whole calculation was with my wife was, if she thinks that I can make money with it, that means I get to own snakes.
Right. It's a side. I mean, it's the same discussion I had to have with my wife too. It went from 1 snake to 3 to 8 very, very quickly.
Right.
But once again, I mean, I think when you're getting into this from kind of a passion, hobby perspective, but also with the business investment side of things as well, you understand, okay, well, you know, I could get a bunch of cheap animals and love them and have a great experience, or I could spend a little bit more money, and then long term, there's potential to turn this into a business and really have something there, right?
Well, yeah, and for me, it was kind of like, I bought these seeds.
Buying the ingredients, right?
And wasn't really thinking it was going to like blossom into a business. And it did, and I'm thankful for it, and I'm trying to make it a legit business. But at the end of the day, I don't put any pressure on my snakes. I have another job that I work. If you know, it would be great if the only thing I had to focus on ever was just snakes, but I don't want to put that pressure on my animals or put so much hope into, like, I've had a snake die. Opal was a snake that we talked about earlier. I love that snake. She was like one of my, I had 2 main ones. I had the Phantom and I had the Super Golden Child Het Orange Ghost Stripe, and I wanted to make cows, and she passed away. I was breeding her to a Super Dwarf Phantom, and she ended up passing away, and it broke my heart. So, I mean, you can invest a bunch of money and try to make that money back, but
life happens.
Yeah, there's no guarantee when you're dealing with animals.
That's a great line. Like, really, I mean, because we'd like to feel like we're in control, but we're really not. Like, we're kind of guides for these animals, I think every breeder that I've talked to has basically said it's not going to go how you think it's going to go.
It doesn't.
It just doesn't. I think once again you've done a really good job of just building a reputation, obviously through YouTube and some of these other avenues. What would you say? What's kind of the best way to get your name out there? Would you say?
I'm horrible at that. Like, that was always my wife's job, and so, you know, because of like some family issues, we don't really have that going on now. So it's kind of on my lap now to work and take care of the animals.
But you do a pretty good job with like posting pictures and Instagram and all that kind of stuff.
With posting like a picture or two, maybe once a week of something that I got going on Instagram, but I could do more, and that's the key.
Sure.
Like, if you follow some of the ball python industry, like Miguel Garcia was really good. If you watch Always Evolving Pythons, he was really good at just putting his name out there everywhere. And when we first got into YouTube and Instagram, I was like, that's just free marketing, and that's what
100%.
That's what I did it for, you know, and that's, you know, the more you put your name out there, but you got to be authentic, and I think that's what people, you know, I'm the same in front of the camera, behind the camera, with no camera. I don't change, and I think that's what people, they find that out about you, whether you're authentic or not.
Well, and that's kind of the cool thing is, like, we had talked about this snake back and forth through Facebook Messenger initially. Like, I had known you through Garrett's channel, your own channel, because I've been studying super dwarfs for 4 or 5 years, haven't had the means until this year to actually go forward with purchasing and investing and all that kind of cool stuff. But I think the cool thing is that we had a really good connection. I could tell you were very authentic with me, as a potential buyer. And then, you know, we spoke over the phone multiple times, and you're the same in person than over the phone. And to be honest, once again, I'd say about 95% of the people that I've met in this industry are like that, right? Where you talk to them, they're genuine, they're passionate about the animals, they love the animals, and they're trying to find the best homes, you know, for them. And so I think it's important to continue that cycle, right? Moving forward and dealing with potential buyers. And at the end of the day, once you start producing, you get to that point where you're producing babies and you're running out of room and things like that. And so I think it's important to build your foundation in the right place.
And that's another good topic for good advice. Plan ahead.
Plan ahead.
You know, if you know that you're going to try to breed, have a hatchling rack ready before you even make the hatchlings.
Have cages ready before you buy the animals.
All of that. Have your food established. You know, whether you're going through like cold-blooded cafe or if you're going to breed your own rodents or whatever you're going to do, have your food.
It's a lot. Like, it's a lot of prep. I'm talking months before even getting to this point today. It's months. Like, it took 3 months for me to not only get these cages, but to build out the insides. And it was a ton of manual labor, manual work. But the end result is it makes it so much more worth it, right? And so I think when you're talking about breeding and moving things forward, you're right. I mean, a lot of people are just so last minute and they're just so impulsive and they just want to breed, but then it's like, where are you going to put the babies? These things are going to have ultimately, who knows, 15, 25 babies. Like, you don't know.
You don't know. You hope for that many.
You hope for that many.
And the thing is too is, you know, it's the prep work is so important because, and that's where, you know, where you made me happy, because I seen how much money you were spending on your caging and stuff like that. No, I'm serious though, because I don't want to see somebody spend all of their money on the snake and then, oh, well, let's make sure, which there's nothing wrong with homemade stuff. I do a lot of homemade.
DIY kind of stuff, right?
There's nothing wrong with that. So, but when I know that somebody's caring enough to put all their time and effort into making, things right, the home's right for them. That's like somebody that's going to adopt a baby or something, you know?
Right.
You're not going to be like, oh, well, we got this baby. Should we get a baby bed? Should we get diapers? Well, yeah. Or have a baby. I don't know why I said adopt, but.
Well, and that's
because you don't actually have.
Well, and that's the thing. People will go out and they'll spend $5,000 on a snake. That's beautiful, right?
Right.
And then they'll spend $150 on the setup for it. And that's the thing that really kind of irks me is like, you know, I wanted to be able to enjoy my animals. They're in my office here, and be able to actually educate and show other people that come into my home, like, these are the animals that I love. These are the animals that I think make some of the best pets out there, right? And so I wanted to invest in kind of that aspect of it. Now, will I have racks and tubs and stuff like that for babies while they're being prepped to go out to their new homes? Yes. Like, there's no way I could have, 100 or 300 of these stacked up.
Right.
So you have to be somewhat reasonable, but it also goes with the prepping. You know, I'm 2 years out, hopefully from my first clutch. It could be longer than that.
Right.
So it's like I have time to kind of sink into it and really absorb more information. But you're 100% right. If you don't prep properly, then the experience in general, the health of your animal, like, everything kind of gets affected by some of that, right? I just kind of want to wrap things up here and just thank you once again for bringing this amazing animal. She doesn't have a name yet.
She did at home, but
what was her name though?
Well, what we called her was I quit calling her because I knew she was going to you. The girl from the
Minnie?
No,
because Minnie was the other one.
Yeah,
Minnie was the other one.
Yeah, this one was called Elsa. Yeah, because she's
okay. Well, I'll run that by.
Yeah,
well, maybe.
I was trying to think of the
Elsa's a good one too for the what's the Disney movie?
Yeah, that's why I'm having a brain fart. My kids watch
Tangled, right?
Not Tangled.
Frozen.
Frozen. Yeah, that's where it came from. She was our Snow, and so that's where she got the name, was Elsa.
I do kind of like that name. You got some really cool ball python stuff. You just had a clutch hatch, right? Recently.
Amazing odds, and that's the thing. It's you never know what you're gonna get. I should not have got what I got.
You're right. Right.
I mean, I bred. I got an allelic combination, and every snake came out either highway or freeway.
which is crazy.
Yeah, I would have been happy to get one, and they were all. I mean, it came from a pavement, which is a super gravel and a super asphalt combination. So it's you're either gonna get all asphalt or all gravel. But the female was either a yellow belly or a gravel. I didn't know until I proved her out at pastel, and yeah, it was just, you know.
Amazing odds on the ball python side.
Yeah.
And you've got, like I said, some powerhouse super dwarf stuff that is going to be, in the next few years, you're going to be producing just some insane stuff. So I'm excited to see
by God's
where you go.
I mean, yeah, it's all up to
you will. So I'm really excited for this animal, and obviously this kind of connects us long term, and you know, I appreciate you and consider you a good friend. So, you know, if there's anything that we can do over here at Coiled for you guys, let us know. But be on the lookout for babies, hopefully in, you know, 3-4 years down the road for this girl and some other stuff we've got going on. But
I'm always excited to see what happens with the babies when they go somewhere else, because I got people with my ball pythons now
that are raising them up,
that are making babies out of the babies that I sold.
Which is crazy.
And it's awesome. That's a cool feeling when someone's like, hey, look, you made this snake, and now I made snakes with it.
And they enjoy the process. That's a cool thing too, is being able to bring happiness or a piece of the wild, as I like to call it, into somebody's home. And like, you know, that's the part I really look forward to, you know, and to share it with my kids. Like the whole process, man, is just,
and I love what you're saying about educating people on it, because that's really important. Is we're a minority in this world. Like, most people hate snakes.
1,000%.
And I forget that, because I go up to like people all the time talking about my snakes, and they look at me like I'm this crazy weirdo, and I forget because I'm so in tune with our community.
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah, because we're used to talking to each other about snakes, and all my friends.
Genetics, everything.
Yeah, and then you start, you know, you just go to church talking about your snake or whatever, and people are like, you keep snakes? Yes, I do.
Well, and that's the other part. People, their first reaction is just like either freaked out or I was taught to, you know, kill snakes in my yard or whatever. And it's like, well, they're actually amazing, like just amazing animals. And the super dwarf stuff, I mean, that is just next level.
And
you know,
I mean, she's not flighty or bitey. You know, people talk about, you know, look at that. People talk about, and she's gotten handled a lot, and she gets this a lot.
Yeah.
A little chunky cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people are like, oh, super dwarfs are so flighty or whatever, but that's like a ball python chilling on you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I think anybody that, you know, a lot of people that get snakes from me, they say, wow, your snakes are so
docile and nice.
And I think a lot of that comes from handling them a lot, and then also just the attitude in the basement, you know.
And the care for their parents too. Like if you have a stressed out animal that, you know, you're breeding and they're flighty, and I mean all that stuff, you know, can get passed down, and so I mean a lot of that goes into just your husbandry and care. So I applaud you for that, and thanks so much for dropping in again. Really appreciate you coming by, brother, and excited to see what we do here with the snow project now that we have that in our collection, which is great. But just want to wish you the best of luck with your business and the ball python stuff and your super dwarf stuff, which is just great. So make sure you go over, like and subscribe Family Jewels Herp Sales on YouTube and Instagram, and make sure you give us a thumbs up on this video as well. Thanks, guys.